It's been 5 years since we've been a part of this platform, and really excited for the future, for where we're going as an organization. And these Believe Bigger, Faster calls are designed to give you the information that you need to do just that, to believe bigger, faster. And in this specific training, Identity Illumination, this is part 2. If you missed part 1, the recording has been dropped into the Discord area. You want to go to the announcement section. I dropped the recording earlier today. Want to definitely make sure you hear part 1. I'm not going to waste any time doing a big review over what we went over last week, but my goal is to complete this training today, and we got a lot to cover. So if you don't mind, we're going to jump right in with a brief review, and then I'm going to continue on right where I left off. So your identity, understanding who you are, and the power that you possess will allow you to set goals and believe that those goals are actually possible. It will empower you to work from a position in which you know that what you put your mind to will manifest. It's the thing that will propel you. It's the thing that will drive you, right? Understanding who you are and the power that you possess. There's 10 things that I went over. I gave you the answers to the test. And then I began to explain to you guys and prove to you that these 10 things are actually factual. So I'm gonna go over those 10 things real quick, and we're gonna jump right into the training. 10 things about your identity that you must understand. Number 1, God placed inside of you the ability to be just like him. Also, it's important for me to mention before I even move forward, we established that the people that are extremely successful, the people that we learn from, we glean from, we gain information from, we established that the source of their information is the Bible. I'm talking about people like David Imonitie, people like Bob Proctor, people like Justin Owens, right? People like Napoleon Hill, people like John Maxwell, people like Paris Simmons, people like Malcolm and Brittany Garrison, people like Christopher Terry, the people that we view as successful on this platform, the people that we learn from, all of their information, the source of their information comes directly from the Bible. So these 10 things, back to the 10 things. Number 1, God placed inside of you the ability to be just like him, which is a very powerful statement, right? Number 2, you have the same creative power, right? God has built inside of your identity through your ability to speak, okay? You have the same creative power God has built inside your identity through the ability to speak. Okay, number 3, what you speak is a part of your identity. It defines who you are and what you believe. Okay, that's how powerful your words are. Number 4, everything God established, he established it through speaking. Likewise, the exact life you have right now was created through the words you have spoken, and the life you desire to have will be created through the words you choose to speak right now. Okay. Number 5, you have the ability to change all manner of physical reality with your words, right? Number 6, the only power the enemy has over you is in the words in which you choose to empower him. The only power the enemy has over you is the words in which you choose to use to empower him. Number 7, your words give power to your belief. Number 7, your words give power to your belief. Number 8, knowledge of your identity empowers you to accomplish what wouldn't be possible to do if you moved based on feelings, right? I'll say that one more time. Knowledge of your identity empowers you to accomplish what wouldn't be possible to do if you moved based on feelings, right? Number 9, you are royalty, right? When you are in the family of God. You are royalty when you are in the family of God. Number 10, all things are yours to command. All things are yours to command. And I know I said 10, but there's actually 12. Number 11, the lifestyle of speaking with purpose will empower you to accomplish whatever you set your mind to, right? The lifestyle of speaking with purpose will empower you to accomplish whatever you set your mind to. And finally, number 12, results follow those who know their identity in Christ. Results follow those who know their identity in Christ. All right, these 12 things all have to do with your identity. And understanding these 12 things, understanding your power that you possess right now, will actually enable you to accomplish whatever you set your mind to. Okay, whatever you set your mind to. Now, I'm gonna just go ahead and jump right in. You'll just have to go ahead and review. Well, no, I'll go over this part. This part is important, right? This part is important. 10 things that I said on last call. 10 things that your words in their entirety are to be used for. 10 things. Number 1, to commune with, worship, praise, lift up, extol, acclaim, celebrate, glorify, honor, magnify, proclaim, and profess our awe and love for the Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end, the Most High Lord God Jehovah, in all his majesty and greatness. He is God all by himself. He is the greatest that ever was, the greatest that is, the greatest there will ever be, there ever will be. That is the primary reason you were created, and the single reason for your existence, to come into that knowledge and use it in this life to be like him in every way. That is the primary reason that we have the ability to speak. Okay, it's number 1. Number 2, to administer grace to others. Number 3, to create situations, results, and happenings that match your desire and will. Number 4, to shift situations and circumstances to match your desire and will. I know those two things sound alike, but they're very different. I'm gonna read number 3 and 4 again. Number 3 is to create situations, results, and happenings that match your desire and will. And number 4 is to shift situations and circumstances to match your desire and will, right? Again, these are the reasons, right? Words, right? Words are to be used to do. These are the things that words are to be used to do. Number 5, to be sent to accomplish something. Number 6, to go and create success. Number 7, to edify and build up others. Number 8, to change physical properties and conditions. You can do that with your words. Number 9, to change environments, right? Environments like weather patterns, storms, continents, countries, counties, cities, and municipalities, neighborhoods, streets, houses, rooms, bodies, and spirits. Your words can be used to change environments. And number 10, finally, your words are to be used to communicate with others. Notice, communication is the lowest form, right? The lowest form in which you're supposed to use your words. Many people are taught, right? Pretty much everybody is taught that we speak for communication, not that we speak for purpose, not that we speak to create. All right, so the rest of this time, I'm going to spend proving everything that I've just said to you, and I'm going to pick up right where I left off. Okay? Where are we? Drop some sevens in the chat if you understand what I just said. Okay? Drop some sevens in the chat. You understand what I just said. Okay, so we're going to pick up right where we left off. So Ephesians chapter 4, verse 9. In the NIV version, it says, don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building up others according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. That's strong. That's strong. In the King James Version, it says, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. We're not supposed to tell people how we feel or what we think with no regard of its impact or effect on them. Right? You hear people talk about letting it out. Just let it all out. And what they're saying is it's okay to vent. But that's not what communication is for, right? People say let it out. But how about we don't even let it in? Venting is exactly what the enemy wants you to do and needs you to do to give him access into your life. Right? We're talking about the purpose of your words. We haven't appreciated what it means to be able to speak our own words. We're in a class apart from all of God's creation. In fact, in the fact that you and I have complete freedom to choose any words we want to say and speak them. This is not so universally. It's not so in heaven with the angels. It's not so with animals. Nobody in God's creation has the right to choose and speak their own words except us. In the Bible, every time an angel was sent somewhere to say something to someone, not a word was added or subtracted. They were sent by God to deliver a message, and that's exactly what they did. Right? The angel Gabriel was sent with a message from heaven to speak to Mary. He said that she was highly favored. He talked about what was going to happen with her. She was going to give birth to Jesus as a virgin. Do you think Gabriel felt free to ad-lib when he was talking to her? Like, let me just give you my opinion on this. Having said all that, Mary, let me tell you what I think. No. There's a record of an angel who chose his own words. His name is Lucifer. He messed up as soon as he said, I will. Right? Lucifer, aka Satan, he said, I will exalt my throne and I will be like the Most High God. Angels were not created to have their own will. He wasn't created to be like the Most High God, but who was? Who was created to be like the Most High God? You and I. And God spoke back and said, you will be brought down to hell. And whatever God speaks is so. So from that point forward, Satan is doomed to hell. There's nothing he can do about it. So what was Satan trying to do? He was trying to imitate God. He wasn't just talking. He was releasing his faith, trying to do what God does, to accomplish what he was saying would happen, that it would cause and affect what he wanted. And God said that was out of order. But guess who has that exact power? And God says that it is in order. You and I. That's why Satan hates you. Because you have the position that he desired. He got damned because of it. And he can't understand why God values you so much. He hates it. Angels were not made to have a free will. They have a will, but not a free will. Their will is to be 100% submitted to God. They don't have the freedom to choose in order like we do. God spoke against Satan's words, and now they'll never be realized. Your creation, your child, let's think about this. If you have children, the first time they tell you, I love you on their own, and they hug you, what did that do to your heart? Oh my God, it's the best feeling in the world. Something that came from you chooses to express love towards you. How do you think God feels when his creation chooses to love him on their own will? That's what he desires, because he has so much to offer and so much to give us, and Satan can't stand it. Your enemy absolutely, wholeheartedly hates you because of it. Imagine hate having a feeling that could consume and you could sense it. It's an ugly, diabolical hate that he has towards you and I because of our identity and positioning in God's eyes. Imagine understanding that God gave you that type of power and then using it. That's how powerful your words are, right? The reason we're accountable for what we say, which you're about to see in a minute, is because it's such a privilege to be able to use words. It's not something that's going to end with this life. We're being groomed and trained to rule and reign with him. King of kings. How do kings reign? Kings reign with their words. If a king wants a ditch dug, he never goes to look for a shovel. He says, let the ditch be dug, and then all of a sudden, it's dug. God said, light be, and then it was. Notice what he didn't say. He didn't say, I'm thinking about making some light. What do y'all think about it? That's not how that went. He spoke it. He saw what he spoke. Right? Psalm chapter 8, verse 1 through 6, it reads, O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth, who has set your glory above the heavens. Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings have you ordained strength because of your enemies, that you might still the enemy and the avenger. When I consider the heavens, all the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you have ordained, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you visited him? You made him to have dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet. How will he still, how will he shut up the enemy? It says, out of the mouth of babes, of children speaking. Right? And in this scripture, the enemy speaks in this scripture, right? He said, when I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you have ordained. He said, what is this man that you are so mindful of him? The Son of Man that you visited. Verse 6, it says, you made him to have dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet. Did it say some things? Did it say part of things? It says all things. He's talking about you and I. The angels marvel, and they still do, that God gave us sonship. And included in that is the right to choose our own words and speak our own words, because they know if they ever decided to deviate and use their own words as angels, they already saw what happened to Lucifer. They go where they're sent, they say what they're told, and they deliver the message. They don't add to it, they don't take from it. But you and I, we've grown up in a world where you could just say anything you want to say and talk. And the problem is this is critical to understand. This is a very critical piece of this whole thing. The problem is the more you talk and you don't believe what you say, the less you expect anything you say to come to pass. Here's the problem. The more you talk and you don't believe what you say, the less you expect anything you say to come to pass. The key to Mark 11:23 coming to pass in your life is not just saying. Here's the problem. Some people will say, well, I've said and I've confessed things and it didn't happen. I believed for things and it didn't happen. How do you know it didn't happen? People who say I've confessed things and it didn't happen is an admission of their lack of belief that it did happen. If you really believed it happened, you would never say, I don't believe it happened, no matter what it looked like or didn't look like. That's what belief requires. It requires not paying attention to how things look. So when people say things like, I said it and I believed it and it didn't work. I've been confessing chairman. I've been professing chairman. I've been doing the work. It's not working. I know exactly why it didn't work. Because you don't believe it. They'll say, but I did believe. No, you didn't. Even if you believe for 30 seconds, 2 weeks, a month, 6 months, a year, 2 years, guess what? You don't believe it now. And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Matthew chapter 12, verse 34. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So last week, we talked about Proverbs 23:7. It says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And then Matthew chapter 12, verse 34 says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So here we have a mind, heart, mouth connection. It's all connected. What you think, you speak. And what you speak, you give power to. And the way you get something to your heart is through what you believe. And what you believe, you focus on and act upon. You see how all of that connects? Let me say it again. We have in these two scriptures, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Right? So you hear heart, you hear mouth, right? You hear thinking, mind. So you have a mind, heart, mouth connection. So what you think and what you see, you speak. And what you speak, you give power to. And the way you get something to your heart is through what you believe. And what you believe, you focus on and act upon. So this Mark chapter 11, verse 22 through 23, it says, and Jesus answering said unto them, have faith in God. For verily I say unto you, that whatsoever you say to this mountain, be thou removed and be cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he said shall come to pass, he shall have whatever he says. Speaking is referred to in those verses 3 times. Believing was only referred to once. You need to focus 3 times as much attention on what you say out your mouth than you do on actually believing, because that's where people are fumbling their blessings. They simply don't believe that the words that they speak have power. That's why the believing part isn't registering. That's why you can't get the desires to your heart, because you've spoken so many idle words, you don't believe in the power of your own tongue. Notice what it says. It says, if you'll say it and not doubt in your heart, but what? Believe. Here's the question though. Believe what? Right? It says, let me read it again. It says, whatsoever you say to this mountain, be thou removed and be cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he said shall come to pass. But what? But shall believe that those things which he said shall come to pass. Now, when it says believe, what are we supposed to believe? Believe what God said? That's not what it read, did it? Believe the Bible? That's not even what it says. In order for this to work, what do you have to believe? You got to believe what you say comes to pass. Verily I say unto you that whosoever says to this mountain, be thou removed and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe those things which he said shall come to pass, he shall have whatever he says. You got to believe your own words. But what if most of what you say, you never expect it to come to pass? Then when you need it to come to pass, when you really need something to happen, right? You're struggling with a whole lifetime spent with unbelieving talk. Watch this. And if you tell lies, even once in a while, you've made it even more difficult to be a man of faith or a woman of faith. Because if you know that sometimes what you say is a lie, how can you believe what you say? If you're going to be a faith person, a man or a woman of faith that sees what you say, then you absolutely must be done with lying forever. You got to be through with it. You got to be through with speaking idle words. If you want your words to become effective and powerful and do things and change things, you got to stop saying anything you don't believe. And that takes maturity. This takes drawing a line in the sand to focus your life only on what you want and divorcing anything that could prevent that from happening. That's a major commitment. But this right here that I'm talking about, this is only for those who want to live an uncommon, elevated life, where you get results that average people crave but don't achieve. What I'm talking about is working this business. What I'm talking about is trading sweatlessly. I'm talking about you wrote your 5 reasons why on a piece of paper, and you don't have a problem believing that what you wrote is going to happen. See, when you understand your identity, when you understand how powerful you are, when you understand what you were made to do, the power you've been equipped with, you work from a place of peace. You got to believe that what you say comes to pass. And if you will have what you say. We've been given an awesome, amazing privilege that the angels don't even have. No other class of being has this ability to speak our own words. This is your identity. And the enemy has confused people on the planet, distorted things and hidden things, because he doesn't want you and I speaking and believing like Jesus spoke and believed while he walked the earth. It will shut him down and close the door, and he knows it. That's why you have so many opportunities to doubt all around you. That's why the content of most people's conversations, most people are complaining a lot and doubting. They're talking about what they don't want and what they can't believe. Say this out loud. I have a great privilege. I can choose my own words. I can speak words of my choosing. None other in creation has this right. You got to believe that. You got to understand that. And because of that, to whom much is given, much is required. Right? Matthew 12, 36 and 37, King James Version. It says, but I say to you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give an account thereof in the day of judgment. For by your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned. Every word, every idle word, that means all idle words. What is an idle word? What does idle mean? Idle means non-working, empty, inactive, unemployed. How many unemployed words? How many words that have no purpose? How many words that are spoken that are not sent to accomplish something do you think are in circulation? Words that were never loaded to do anything, never intended to do anything, never expected to accomplish anything. The number would be astronomical. Right? But because it's such a privilege to be able to say anything you want to say, we will have to account for the ones we didn't use. And I didn't write this. This is not my idea. I want y'all to understand that. Jesus said this. He said, you would give an account. He said, by your words, you will be justified. And by your words, you'll be condemned. That's a very powerful statement. Because now, everything you say, you get to choose what type of results you want. Right? The Amplified version is even deeper. Matthew 12, 36, it says, but I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will have to give an account for every careless or useless word they speak. Why did he say this? Because an empty word spoken was a missed opportunity to change something. With that same time, that same breath, that same moment you used to speak unbelief and speak fear, you could have put some faith in it and changed something. Right? Say this out loud. Say this out loud. My words that go out of my mouth don't return to me empty. They accomplish what I sent them to do. They affect what I intended. Do you believe that? Right? Do you believe that? Is it right for you and I to imitate our Father? There's a reason that he gave us this ability and this right. And he built it into our identity that no other creature has. It's a reason for that, because it's powerful. Watch this. Did Jesus say that we should watch every word? Yes. Did he say we would have to give an account for every idle word? Yes. Should we watch every word that we speak? Absolutely. And I know that that's a tall task, but if you want something different than most people are getting, then you got to operate differently than everybody else. We don't just want to be a little bit differently than everybody else. We want to be radically different, totally different from unbelieving, ungodly, no results getting people. And by the way, just so I'm clear, all successful people believe what I'm saying. That's why they're successful. Right? Watch this. This is how important what I'm saying truly is, watch this. There's going to be temptations. There's going to be situations. There's going to be circumstances. There's going to be literal agents of the enemy, right, that will arise, and you will be pressured and pushed to say things you absolutely should not say. And if you don't think it matters what you say, it'll be easy and quick to comply with whatever that situation is. All they got to do is bring thoughts and feelings and push you a little bit, and you'll spit out the words that you shouldn't speak right out your mouth. And that's all they need. All they need is access through the power of your words. And when you begin to stop yielding to those urges to say what's on your mind, to give people a piece of your mind when you're upset, if you stop yielding to that, you're going to experience pressure and temptations. Have there been times in your life when you knew you shouldn't say something and you did it anyway? Maybe a heated discussion with somebody, a family member, a spouse, a coworker, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whoever. And you get into an intense discussion, and then you start remembering things that they did, things that they said with vivid detail. Could have been 10, 20 years ago. And you start speaking it, and the words just flow almost as if you're inspired. That's because you are. But something kept pulling on your heart, telling you, don't say it. And you said it anyway. And it hurt the person that you were speaking to. Imagine coming into this knowledge and then realizing that you let the enemy use your mouth, your power, to hurt the people that you love. I ain't doing that no more. My mouth is off limits to the enemy. And you got to get there. And if you really mean it, you're going to have to stop talking so much when you're angry. And it's not just about anger, it's about complaining too. Complaining is dangerous. Complaining aborts desires, dreams, and visions. And watch this. If it doesn't matter what you say, if you're not fully convinced of what I'm talking about, then why would it be so tempting? Why is it so hard to control your mouth when you're upset? Why is it so important to the enemy to get you to say something you know you shouldn't say? Just like the enemy needs you to say something to cause confusion and destruction, the Lord needs you to say words that can create and edify, to use it to increase you and environments around you. Right? If this wasn't important, then you wouldn't be tempted in these areas. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 9, it says, not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but contrariwise, blessings. Know that you are their call, that you should inherit a blessing. But what it's saying is this: if people curse you with their words, don't curse them back unless you want to curse. Never just say what you feel. Speak for effect, right? Speak for a purpose. Speak with intention, because you will have whatever you say. You'll have it, right? Let's switch gears real quick. How did God create light? Really think about it. How did he create light? He created light in the darkness. In other words, he spoke light into existence. Where did the light come from? It's so powerful. The light came from out of the darkness, and God spoke it. In other words, he spoke what he didn't see into existence. He called something that wasn't in existence into existence. God wasn't looking at darkness as it was. He was looking at it through the eyes of how he said it would be. So God created by speaking, And then he gave us his ability. And if you don't use it, it's not God's fault. People wondering why is a black cloud over my life? It seems like every time I try something, I take 2 footsteps forward and I get knocked back 4 steps. You're speaking it. Right? Let me give you some powerful examples. Watch this. Matthew chapter 14, 22 to 33. NLT version. This is Jesus walking on the water, right? It says immediately after this. Remember that part. Immediately after this, Jesus insisted that his disciples get back into the boat and cross to the other side of the lake while he sent the people home. After sending them home, he went up to the hills by himself to pray. Night fell while he was there alone. Meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble, far away from land, for a strong wind had arisen, and they were fighting heavy waves. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came walking towards them, walking on the water. When the disciples saw him on the water, they were terrified. In their fear, they cried out, "It's a ghost." But Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage, I am here." Then Peter called to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come walking on the water. Tell me to come to you walking on the water." "Yes, come," Jesus said. So Peter went over the side of the boat and walked on the water towards Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. "Save me, Lord," he shouted. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. "You have so little faith," Jesus said. "Why did you doubt me?" When they climbed, when they climbed back into the boat, the wind stopped. Then the disciples worshiped him. "You really are the Son of God," they exclaimed. Question: what empowered Peter to walk on the water? The instruction from Jesus. He said, "Yes, come." What gave Peter the courage to walk on the water? Again, the instruction from Jesus. Now, earlier, the previous chapter, it talked about how Jesus, the disciples just saw Jesus feed about 10,000 to 15,000 people with 2 pieces of fish and some bread. He had faith in what Jesus said. That's why when he said, "Come on the water," he trusted him. Supernatural things don't happen without instruction from God and faith in what he said. Did he say he made you the head and not the tail? Did he say he made you above and not beneath? Did he say, "Let us make man in our image"? You've already been empowered to prosper. When you focus, when you're focused on the supernatural and you're operating within the identity in which God created you, the results you will receive will be supernatural. It won't look natural to other humans who operate within a natural construct of existence. So what I'm saying is this: supernatural results should be happening in your business. Supernatural growth should be happening in your trade account when you have this understanding, when you're operating from a place of knowing who you are, knowing how you've been created. But everybody always reads this particular scriptures, right? These particular scriptures, Matthew 14, 22 through 33. But directly behind those scriptures, something powerful happened. Something powerful happened. This is a powerful story, right? When we're talking about identity, right? Because what you'll see is Jesus was walking in his identity even when he didn't feel like it. Watch this. In Matthew 14, verses 6 through 14, directly behind that story, it says this: on Herod's birthday, The daughter of Herodias danced for the guests and pleased Herod so much that he promised an oath to give her whatever she asked. Prompted by her mother, she said, "Give me here on a platter the head of John the Baptist." John the Baptist was Jesus' cousin, right? So the king was distressed because of his oaths and his dinner guests, right? The king was distressed, but because of his oaths and his dinner guests, he ordered that her request be granted and had John beheaded in prison. His head was brought in on a platter and given to the girl, who carried it to her mother. John's disciples came and took John the Baptist's body and buried it. And then they went and told Jesus. Jesus just found out that his cousin was beheaded. Okay? Right? He just found out his cousin was beheaded. Watch how he reacted. When Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. Hearing of this, the crowds followed him on foot from the towns. When Jesus landed and saw a huge crowd, what did he do? He had compassion on them and he healed their sick. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. He just found out his cousin was beheaded. He was sad. He was upset. He wanted to go be alone. Many people would have made excuses because their cousin was just beheaded. Instead, Jesus chose to do what he was called to do, even when he didn't feel like it. When you know who you are and what you came to do, when you know your identity, you don't move based on feelings. You move based on assignment and purpose. Do you understand what I just said? When you know who you are and what you came to do, you don't move based on feelings. Jesus didn't feel like doing that. He just found out his cousin was beheaded. But he did it anyway. He moved based on assignment and purpose. And then the story of walking on the water came. Right? Listen to this story. Mark chapter 11, 12 to 14, and 19 to 25, NLT version. It said, the next morning as they were leaving Bethany, Jesus was hungry. He noticed a fig tree in full leaf a little way off. So he went over to see if he could find any figs, but there were only leaves because it was too early in the season for fruit. Then Jesus said to the tree, "May no one ever eat your fruit again." The disciples heard him say it. That evening, Jesus and the disciples left the city. The next morning, as they came and passed the fig tree he had cursed, the disciples noticed it had withered up from the roots 24 hours later. Peter remembered what Jesus had said to the tree and on the previous day, and he exclaimed, "Look, Rabbi, the fig tree you cursed has withered and died." And then Jesus said to the disciples, "Have faith in God. I tell you the truth. You can say to this mountain, may you be lifted up and thrown into the sea, and it will happen. But you must really believe it will happen. And have no doubt in your heart. I tell you, you can pray for anything. And if you believe that you've received it, it will be yours." That sounds familiar. But when you are praying, first, forgive anyone you are holding a grudge against, so that your Father in heaven will forgive your sins too. Now, it's something important that I need to point out here. It says, have faith in God. I tell you the truth. You can say to this mountain. What's a mountain? A mountain is a problem you can't solve. A mountain is a condition you can't change. A mountain is a law you can't override. It's something that is out of the realm of natural possibility. Speaking God's word, speaking words that create, speaking those things that be not as though they are, changes natural things, changes companies, changes systems, changes environments, changes people, changes laws, changes anything. Right? Hebrews 11:3. Through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. Right? So basically, it's again speaking those things that be not as though they are, speaking things that you can't see into existence, not paying attention to the facts of life, paying attention to the truth that you have. The truth will always change the facts. The fact is, your bank account may not look the way you want it to look. The truth is, you're wealthy beyond measure. And you got to keep that on your lips. Speaking those things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. Romans 4:17 and 18, calling those things that be not as though they are. Right? Joint heirs. This part is important. Joint heirs. Romans chapter 8, verse 16 through 17. It says, the Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God. And if we're children, then we're heirs. Heirs of God and joint heirs with Christ. If so be that we suffer with him, that we may also glorify together. So this is powerful. It says the Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are children of God. Children of God. So if you're the child of a king, then that makes you an heir. Listen to this. So we are God's children. Jesus is God's son, which makes us joint heirs on the same level as Christ himself. Y'all peep that? Clear as day. Child of God, child of God, child of a king, that makes us heirs. Jesus is his son. Then that makes us joint heirs, same level as Christ. Again, empowered to operate the same exact way Jesus operated. And if you go through and read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all you're going to do is see Jesus speaking. You're going to see Jesus speaking. You're also going to see him taking action on his belief. He's the blueprint. You can't have chairman if you don't do the activity. And you won't do the activity unless you believe the activity will yield the result that you want. And you won't believe that the activity will yield the result that you want. You won't believe that unless you're empowered by something that gives you the strength to take action in the first place. What is that thing that's going to empower you? Understanding who you are, understanding your identity, understanding the power that you have, understanding that you're never stuck, understanding that when the pullback happens in your business, it doesn't matter. Understanding that when people leave your business, it doesn't matter. Understand, like literally understanding that you start your work, right? You start your work with the end in mind. You know the end from the beginning. just like God. You know the end from the beginning, just like God. You know where the results are going to come from. You can work from a place of peace. Really, all we're doing is we're on a mission to find the ones who believe like we believe, or who will be committed to developing the belief that can actually create the lifestyle that they desire. And once they understand how powerful they are, they'll be committed to the work. Right? They'll be committed to the work. They'll be committed to the go live. They'll be committed to the trainings. They'll be committed to the information. They'll be committed to the trainings. Watch this. They'll be committed to the events. They'll be committed to putting themselves in the environment that is conducive for their growth. Right? Y'all got to understand this. It says, if so be that suffer with him, that we may also glorify it together. Now, suffering in this scripture is important to understand. Right? Suffer right here means to hold up under, to maintain a position in spite of conditions. That's so good. To maintain position in spite of conditions. That's how we be glorified together. Watch this. If you're in the family of God, that means you're royalty. And royalty has the ability to decree and declare things into existence immediately. So if a king or a queen says something, conditions change immediately. And the people under their citizenship obey what was declared and decreed. So this is important to understand. What does it mean to decree something? To command or legislate. Decree has to do with government, creating laws. It means that the law didn't exist before until someone who has the authority within the government brought it into existence simply by saying it. You can decree something, right? And you also can declare things. Now, what does it mean to declare? To declare means to make known. If you've ever flown out the country and you had to go through customs, they ask you a critical question. Would you like to declare anything? Would you like to declare anything? Do you have anything you would like to declare? In other words, do you have anything you would like to make known that is in your possession? You can declare and decree things into existence, just like royalty, just like a king, just like a queen. You're powerful that way. Your words have power. I declare and decree that Chairman 10 is done for me. I declare and decree that the results that I receive come sweatlessly. I declare and decree that every individual that enters my organization is blessed beyond measure. I declare and decree that everything I touch turns to gold. I declare and decree that I have the supernatural ability to speak and people listen. I declare and decree that I have influence over a massive amount of people. You can declare and decree some things into existence. And I'm a living, walking testimony of this. Me and my wife, early on in our business, we said a simple prayer. Lord, send us the people that are destined to be with us and repel anybody that is coming to bring confusion. He's still honoring that prayer. What I'm trying to get you to understand is you're not supposed to act natural. You're peculiar. I got so much, boy. We got to wrap this up. Look, John chapter 5, verse 1 through 9. This is a story about a man who was crippled 38 years. 38 years, right? It said afterward, Jesus returned to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish holy days, right? Inside the city near the sheep gate was a pool at Bethesda, with 5 covered porches. Crowds of sick people, blind, lame, or paralyzed, lay on the porches. One of the men lying there had been there sick for 38 years. When Jesus saw him and he knew he had been there a long time, he asked him, "Would you like to get well?" Now watch how the man responded. Jesus asked him, "Would you like to get well?" And here's what the man said: "I can't, sir, for I have no one to put me in the pool when the water bubbles up. Someone else always gets there ahead of me." He did not answer the question that Jesus asked. He asked him, "Would you like to get well?" That's a yes or no question. And the man responded with conditions. The man responded with circumstances. The man responded with the situation. What did Jesus do? Watch how Jesus responded. "Stand up, pick up your mat, and walk." Immediately, the man was healed. He rolled up his sleeping mat and began walking. Did Jesus address his situation? Did Jesus address his circumstances? Completely ignored it. You know why? Because he didn't care. The situation and the circumstances don't matter. Can you catch this, please? Can you please catch this? The situation and circumstance don't matter. It doesn't matter. It don't matter what it looks like. It don't matter what you're going through right now. It doesn't matter the lack of results. It doesn't matter how long you've been working. It doesn't matter what happens in your business. He don't care about the situation or circumstance. He cares about what you're believing and what you're acting upon. What position do you work from? Do you work from a position of hoping that it will happen? Or do you work from a position of knowing that it's going to happen? Your positioning matters. See, your understanding while you're working matters. If you work knowing who you are and knowing what the power that you have, then you won't get discouraged when you hear no's. Those no's were ordained. Do you want somebody to say yes who's going to bring turmoil into your business? Do you want somebody to say yes that's going to suck up your time? You want somebody to say yes that's not going to be serious, that's going to waste your time? Or do you want the right people to say yes? Every no is ordained, just like every yes is ordained. And every no does not mean no. It could mean not right now. Control what you can control, which is everything. You control it with your words. You are not a victim. But if your identity, right, if you wrap your identity up in victimhood, you can't experience the higher levels of life. This man, he almost missed it. He was wrapped up in his conditions and circumstances. He was too busy looking at what happened all that time up until the moment when the solution walked right into his life. He almost missed it. You can't experience higher levels of life focused on the past, focused on victimhood. Royalty and victim don't mix. God deals with and specializes in the impossible. No matter what it looks like, it's not a situation that's impossible for God to handle through you. A storm came. How did Jesus stop it? He spoke to it. Lazarus had been dead for 4 days and his body was starting to decompose. What did Jesus do? Get him up. He spoke to him. The circumstance, the conditions, 4 days dead, decomposing, didn't matter. You can change natural conditions by speaking faith-filled words that are born out of your identity in Christ. So much proof. I got so much proof of everything that I said. John 6:63, my words are spirit and they are life. NLT version puts it like this: the spirit alone gives eternal life. Human effort accomplishes nothing. And the very words I have spoken to you are spirit and life. Words that I spoke to you. It's so much. Psalms 24 verse 1, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. The world and all its people belong to him. Joint heirs, we just talked about that. So the earth is Portia's and everything in it. The world and all its people belong to him, to her, right? The earth is James and everything in it. The world and all its people belong to her. The earth is Charles's and everything in it. The world and all its people belong to me. Are you seeing this? Job 22 verse 28, you shall also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto you, and the light shall shine upon your ways. We just talked about declaring and decreeing. You shall also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto you, and the light shall shine upon your ways, right? The NLT version says this: you will succeed in whatever you choose to do, and light will shine on the road ahead of you. Clear as day. NIV version, Job 22:28, same scripture, NIV version. Watch this. What you decide on will be done, and light will shine on your ways. It don't get no more clear, right? Ephesians 5:1, right? Imitate God, therefore, in everything you do, because you are his dear children. I told you I was going to prove this to you, everything that I said. Imitate God, therefore, in everything you do, because you are his dear children. If you couldn't imitate God, then why would it say imitate God? That means you can imitate God. And God don't fail. God gets results. God speaks and he sees. And if it's telling us to imitate him, then you should speak and you should see. Right? Habakkuk 2:4. The just shall live by his faith. Ooh, that's different. That sounds a lot different than what we grew up hearing. See, y'all grew up like me. If you grew up like me, you grew up hearing the just shall live by faith. But what it really says is the just shall live by his faith. His faith is different. His faith is not like man's faith. His faith don't fail. His faith always comes through. His faith always accomplishes what he sends it out to accomplish. It says the just shall live by his faith. So are you living by your own faith or are you living by his faith? Because if you're living by his faith, the results you're supposed to get, you will see. I'm telling you, this thing is powerful. This thing is powerful. Now, Romans chapter 1, verse 17, right? It says, for therein is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. So it's in there. It does say it that way. The just shall live by faith. But that Habakkuk 2:4 hit a little bit different. The just shall live by his faith. I think it's so powerful. I got so much. I'm not gonna get to it all. I already knew, right? I'm not gonna get to it all. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Oh, this is good. Galatians chapter 2, verses 20, NIV version. It says, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith. Watch this. I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. There it is again. It doesn't say that I live by my faith. I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. See, the highest kind of faith is rest. Rest is authentication of your belief. So like I've been saying, you don't have to work from a place of wondering, are you going to get the results? You can rest in the fact that you're working from a place of your identity. You know who you are. You know the results that you have a right to get. You're working from a place of peace. You're working from a place of understanding. So there's no anxiety, right? You understand time. You understand that there's things that you must experience on this path. And you're willing to experience those things to get to the ultimate goal. So there's no anxiety. When it's your time, it will be your time. Psalms 141 verse 3. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the doors of my lips. Message version. Post a guard at my mouth, God. Set a watch at the door of my lips. Basically, watch your mouth. Because what you say has power. Right? So what is the point of this whole training? What is the point of this whole training? Like I said at the beginning, you got to establish, number one, who are you? What about you can you rest in? My name is Charles Edward Dyson III. I'm opinionated. I'm boisterous. I'm unapologetic about what I believe. I'm tenacious towards my goals. I do this because I love my wife. I do this because I love my children. I do this because there's a certain lifestyle that I know I deserve to live. And I won't rest until I have it. I won't rest until I see in my reality what I see in my mind. I believe in integrity. I believe in loyalty. I believe in helping people. What am I doing? I'm telling you about who I am. Who are you? Right? Who are you? I enjoy laughing. I enjoy joking. I enjoy peace. This is who Charles Edward Dyson III is. Right? But inside of that identity is the deeper understanding of my identity. I'm a child of God. I'm a man of faith. Whatever I say comes to pass. I have the power to change situations, circumstances, environments. Every room I walk into gets better, right? Anywhere I go, grace follows me. Grace prepares me, right? Whatever I do, I prosper at. Identity. See, when you work from that place, when you understand right? When you understand these truths and then you go to work, you expect the results to come. When they come is none of my business. All I know is they will show up. And my responsibility is to be rooted in that position and use my words to create. Don't abort my future, right? In a moment of frustration. It's the whole point of this. It's to show you how powerful you are. Right? This identity message, like I said, the self-confidence formula, if you understand this, this will give you the self-confidence. I already got messages from people on the team that were messaging me and telling me, Charles, after that training, I got a different level of confidence that I'm working because I'm working from a different understanding. I get it. I'm working from a position of passion, knowing that the end is written. I know what the end looks like. And I don't serve no petty God, y'all. I don't serve no petty God. God not gonna show me David Imonitie and say, ooh, look what I did for him, but I'm not gonna do it for you. That's petty. I don't serve a petty God. He's not gonna dangle results in my face that I can't have access to. If anything, he's showing it to me to show me what's possible. And now there's a standard I can hold him to. If you did it for David, you gotta do it for me. Or you're a liar. I'm gonna do my part, I'm gonna believe. If you did it for China, you gotta do it for me. If you did it for Justin, you gotta do it for me. If you did it for Paris, you gotta do it for me. If you did it for Noel, you gotta do it for me. Watch this, if you did it for Crypto Picasso, you gotta do it for me. If you did it for Stevenson Lindor, you gotta do it for me. If you did it for Christopher Derrick, you gotta do it for me. If you did it for Christopher Terry, guess what? You gotta do it for me. Trading side, business side, it don't matter. If you show it to me, I can have it. $1 million trading days? Yup, just what the doctor ordered. That's in my future. It's done. It's done. Now, all I got to do is stay rooted in that position with the understanding of who I am and all the benefits that I have as a human being, and work from that position. This will give you the confidence, right? And when those challenging times come, you can face those facts with the truth. Doesn't matter what the circumstance is, don't matter what the situation is. What I say is what I will see. I'm gonna send my words out to accomplish something. So now what you're saying on a daily, consistent basis becomes absolutely critical. How you respond to circumstances and situations becomes absolutely critical. Are you going to remain in faith, or are you going to let that circumstance, that situation shake what you believe, what you have been believing for this entire time? Right? When you're building the business, if people leave your business, is that going to shake your confidence? Is that going to cause you to forget who you are and your identity? Or are you going to say, you know what? It's okay. I'm gonna keep going. Paris lost 800 people out of his organization. 800 people left. within a small window of time. He kept believing. 3 more chairmen got created. Because why? He knew who he was. He knows the end from the beginning. He knows where we're going. And guess what? So he worked from that position. And it got replaced 3-fold, 4-fold, 5-fold. It's going to be chairman's birthed out of this training. Watch this. The supernatural results will begin to take place when your belief matures. And your belief maturing is going to be attached to the manner in which you work. You can always tell somebody believe because they're moving, they're blitzing, they're moving with a different type of energy. When you know who you are, when you know the results that you're supposed to be getting, you're working from a position of, I can't fail. That's it right there, Lord. That's it. It's that simple. You're working from a position like, I can't fail. I can't fail. It has to work. It will work because I'm going to make it work. Watch this. You're working from a position of cooperation. You are a co-creator with God. You have his ability in you right now, right? This whole training was about that. You have his ability in you right now, right? So you are a co-creator. You are in cooperation with God. You got to understand how powerful this is. You are in cooperation with him. Cooperation. When you work without knowing your identity, you're just in operation. You're operating. But when you're in cooperation with the maker and creator of the universe, you can't fail. It's like knowing who, it's like when you're in high school, when you're in grade school and you get in a fight with a bully, that bully is real big, right? You might be a little bit scared because he's way bigger than you. But if your big brother is with you, you got a different type of confidence going into that fight. You got a different type of confidence. What I'm saying to you is, you got your big brother with you at all times. You got Jesus with you at all times. The fight is fixed. You can't fail. So I'm gonna stop it right here. That is the identity illumination, right? And I titled this incorrectly on the morning motivation call. I called it identity transformation, but nothing is transformed. We're not transforming your identity. So that was incorrect. This is identity illumination. What just happened? You just got illumination, enlightened. A light bulb got turned on in a dark room. And now you see clearly, right, who you are, what you were made to do, the type of results you're supposed to be getting, the fact that natural things don't matter, circumstances and situations don't matter. It's all on you. Identity illumination. So now when you work, I want you to work from that position in full expectation of anything you wrote down on that piece of paper. Those 5 reasons why, reread them. Refocus on them with this understanding. Watch how energized you become. Watch that fear just fall away. The things you used to be scared of, the things you didn't want to do about this business, the things that you shied away from, when you work from a position of this understanding, those fears will fall away. That makes sense? You're more powerful then you have a right to the success that you desire. You have a right to it. And there's over 500 living, breathing, capable individuals that are going to be excited to have you as a leader. You got to believe that. They're living already. They got the money. They're ready. You just got to be diligent to find the ones who will find the ones who will find the ones. All of you are the ones. You just got to believe it. And don't get robbed of your future for anything or anyone. That concludes the call. Make sure you're in West Palm Beach, Florida, March 10th, 11th, and 12th. You can go to iamacademy.events. Somebody drop it in the chat. The link, iamacademy.events. You can go there, get your ticket. Make sure you're in the building to learn from 6, 7, and 8-figure traders, to learn from 6, 7, and 8-figure business builders. You don't want to not be in that environment. That's the environment where it's going to take what you learned tonight, and on the financial side, it's going to blow everything that you just heard. It's going to blow it up. It's going to make it swollen inside of you, because then you start seeing that this is real, right? You get in a room with 10,000, 12,000 people moving on one accord, learning from people who are already successful and giving you the information to help you change your life. People who started out just like you, if not in worse situations than you, and now are making 6 figures a month. Right? Right? And listen to me. Paris just said, new members and current ticket holders, you can reach out to Paris Simmons, Top 5 Lifestyle, if you need tickets. Okay? New members and current ticket holders. If you ain't got the ticket, you don't get that access. But new members and current ticket holders, you can reach out to Paris, right? If you need tickets, and he will put you in position, right? But this event in West Palm Beach, Florida, March 10th, 11th, and 12th, is going to be absolutely critical to your growth. Absolutely critical. Okay? And it's going to be, you won't regret it. Trust me. You won't regret it. All right? Everybody be blessed.